it makes me a little like, I'm a little weepy just talking about it, because I think, like, for me personally, it's something that I can really relate to, where feeling misunderstood, going about your life anyway, and still deciding to try to be a good person, and like forging your own path of being like, okay, this is kind of the expectation, but for me, in my heart, I need to make another choice. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. This is the I Love This podcast. My name is Katie, and I'm here with my sister, Becca.
Hello!
And in the show, we just talk about whatever we're loving lately. So this will be our 7th episode, which is wild. So
Woo-hoo.
We've talked about movies, TV shows, music, musicals, science, a whole bunch of stuff, ghost stories. So go listen to our other episodes, find something you like. You can also find us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, all under I Love This Podcast. We'll also have links to all of those in the description. So if you want some extra content, you can go over there. We post cool graphics for each episode, and we work really hard on those. So if you want to go take a look at that, that would be much appreciated. And also, if you would like to follow or rate us on Spotify, that would be wonderful. So those are all my quick plugs. So just to get us warmed up into the episode, do we have any small talk we'd like to discuss?
I think I know what we're going to talk about for small talk, but
we may or may not have decided what we were going to talk about on small talk before we started recording.
Just a titch. One subject to talk about. Only one.
Yes.
But before I will do that, I'll say that winter is finally here and it's cold and I love it.
It's really, really cold. Yeah, we're recording in the beginning of December at the moment, so we're a little behind when this is gonna come out.
Yeah.
So also this is the first episode that'll come out in the new year, so happy new year, happy 2025 everyone.
Happy new year.
Hopefully
it's
good one.
2025 people. That's weird to say.
Welcome to 2025.
I love winter. I can wear cozy things and not get too hot. I love it. I don't love the early morning have to go to work and it's dark and cold and scrape windshields and blah. But
yep, I hate that too.
But I can finally wear cozy things and long pants and long sleeves and all my sweatshirts. I love my sweatshirts.
Me too.
I can only wear them now.
Yeah, I wait all year to wear my sweatshirts because I have a lot of cool ones, and usually whenever I buy merch from anything, I usually end up getting a sweatshirt. And so it's fun to bust those out every year.
Well, and I've got to plan my outfit. So for all the listeners, it's a week until the Mufasa movie comes out. And obviously we're seeing it the day it comes out because that has to happen. And I'm so excited. But I don't know what I'm going to wear because I have too much Lion King stuff. Because I bought a jacket from Box Lunch that is, to die for. It was expensive, but I don't care. But then I have so many other sweatshirts and shirts, and I'm like, which one do I pick? Which one do I wear? I haven't figured it out yet.
You could either narrow it down to your favorites and do eeny, meeny, miny, mo, or flip a coin.
Yeah.
Or I think a great solution to your problem is that you'll just have to go see it again. You'll just have to go see it more than once.
It might happen.
I was just telling Becca that we went to the movies. Patrick and I went to the movies yesterday, and they showed a trailer for Mufasa in 3D, and it was really cool. So maybe you go see it again in 3D, because that could be fun.
There you go. So I'm excited to see that and do that thing, because I'm following very closely.
I'm glad you threw it out in the family group chat saying, hey, I'm going to Mufasa, who wants to come? I love that.
Because
I'm
I was
excited too.
No one else is going to do this and do the tickets. And I'm like, I will do the tickets. I want to go. People can come if they want. But I was still we're ordering these now before I forget.
Yeah. Speak now or forever hold your peace if you want to come watch Mufasa with me.
Exactly. I was like, please, everyone respond today. I want to order them tonight.
I don't know if we talked about this when we talked about The Lion King in our first episode, but we all went to the movies to see the original Lion King in the theaters, and that was really cool because
that was super fun.
That was fun to see in the theaters versus just watching it at home. So that was really cool too.
Yeah. For someone not being even close enough to be born to see that in the theaters,
Yeah.
It was fun to be able to say I did that. But
Yeah.
that was really fun. I tried really hard not to cry about it. And
Oh.
I'm going to try not to cry at this movie. I feel like
Go
they're
ahead and
probably going to do
cry.
some sort of memorial for James Earl Jones since he passed away.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
like his movie.
Right.
I don't want to cry, but I probably will. So
Go
I'm
ahead
going to
and
remember to
cry.
bring
It's
tissues.
okay. No, yeah.
Got to bring the tissues.
Let the tears flow
Yeah.
because it means you love something so much. So I say go ahead and cry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll probably cry a couple times.
I had 2 quick timely updates I wanted to give. So since it is the beginning of December, we're full into Christmas swing. So I know it'll be over by the time this episode comes out, but I just feel it was relevant to bring up that Netflix released a Sabrina Carpenter Christmas special. I think it's called A Nonsense Christmas because her song Nonsense is really popular. I watched it last night and it was really fun. It was really good. It's not too long. She has a bunch of musical guests on it. So I really liked it. So if you're interested, go take a watch. Go watch that. And then also, I don't know if you've seen this, but there is currently a Gilmore Girls Walmart commercial going right now.
I saw that and thought of
yes,
you. I was like, Katie saw that.
Yeah, I about died because you see Luke and Lorelai and Kirk, and they're in the diner, and then there's another shot of them outside with the Stars Hollow sign. And I just thought it's probably a 15-second commercial, but I was like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
who it is, and it just makes me think. I'm like, I want season 2 of Gilmore Girls: A Year in the Life. I need to know. It ends on a cliffhanger, and I need to know what's gonna happen. I'm like, you got not half, but you got a good 3 of the cast members. You need to bring everybody back. You got the sets up and going.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that was much appreciated to see a quick Walmart commercial. So shout out to Walmart for bringing back Gilmore Girls.
No, yeah, I saw that and I was like, that looks like Gilmore Girls. And then at the end I was like, it is.
It is. Yeah.
She's great.
So
yeah,
that was fun. If that's confusing to anyone who hasn't been listening, I've talked about Sabrina Carpenter and Gilmore Girls as topics.
Yeah. You gotta go watch past episodes.
Yes,
they're decent.
Go watch. Yes,
I feel like we're improving on our podcasting game, but they're still good episodes. And they're still fun.
I think the only episode I would say is not my favorite is that first one, and I think that's also with how I edited it. I hate saying that. Edited it, because that was the first time, So we were nervous and we're learning and doing better. So if you this is my worry too, is people listen to our first one and don't like it and they don't keep listening, because I do feel like it's been getting better. So if you're one of the few who have continued listening and given us a chance to improve, thank you. Thank you for being here. We really appreciate it.
We do. It's good to know that our work is being seen by at least someone else other than ourselves.
Yeah. And our
and family.
Close friends and family. Oh yeah, we got our first comment on the Epic the Musical. Sure, because
it made me so happy.
I know. I was so excited because as far as we know, the only people that have been listening are our friends and family, which we appreciate. Shout out to you guys, but obviously the goal is to have more than just our friends and family listening. And so we got a comment from a stranger, and it was so exciting.
Should I do the shout out?
Yeah, let's shout him out. First comment ever on the podcast.
First comment ever on the podcast will forever be remembered as the first person who acknowledges our podcast.
Our existence,
So it was from someone named Annie Marie, and she was commenting about our Epic the Musical episode that I talked about that. Just thanking us for talking about it because it was also so amazing, and she was also late in the game to discovering that. But yeah, and then she was also mentioning a song from the newest released Saga, which, oh my gosh, this is perfect headway. They finally, the last Saga is getting released on Christmas.
Oh, yay!
So it's happening.
So exciting.
So
yay!
By this time, it will be out and done.
Yeah.
And everything will be in the open, and I'm so excited. Oh,
ooh,
I'm dying.
That's really exciting.
Yeah. So
that's really soon. Yay! That's 2 weeks away.
I know. It's insane.
Yeah.
But with that, I feel like it's a good headway into my Spotify Wrapped, because I listened to that thing so much that it popped up in there, and it was kind of funny.
I don't know if you've seen it on the internet, but they were getting a lot of heat this year, and people are really upset. And people are saying it's maybe not accurate. So I don't know anything about that, but people are saying because it was all like AI generated or something, that it wasn't, that they kind of dropped the ball on it this year. I didn't mind it all that much. I do feel like in previous years we've gotten more information. Anyway, I think it's just fun to see how much you've been listening. How many minutes did you get this year?
Hold on, let me double check.
Because I see some people with like 300,000 minutes listened, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
And I don't think I got that much, to be honest.
I definitely didn't.
I played a little over 1,500 songs.
Oh, wow.
My top song was a Taylor Swift song, but I was like doing the Taylor Swift thing beginning of the year. Yeah. But so May, because I was mainly listening to like Taylor Swift and stuff like that, it was my and I was listening to country. It's my breakup slow dance country phase. Because I was listening to Morgan Wallen and Post Malone and all those people. And then like it's Pink Pilates Princess Strut Pop.
That's what I got in August. I was just gonna say that's the same one I got, because also that's when Sabrina Carpenter's album came out. So I was listening to that a lot in August.
Fair. But then in October, because that's when I started listening to Epic, and that was literally almost all I was listening to. It's my theatrical fantasy musicals. Moment.
I think I got I didn't take a screenshot of it, but in July it was like vampire alt rock or something, because I was listening to more rock music.
I listened to 550 artists.
Oh wow.
Supposedly.
I think I listened to I was definitely over 1,000. But I listened to a lot of I'll just pick a random playlist. So then it's like each song is a different artist. So I think that's why I get so many.
Yeah. So, and because of how much I listened, because the problem is that I was listening to Taylor Swift a lot on my drives to work and back. So I think that's where I got a lot of my Taylor Swift listens, was because a lot of her songs were in there. And then end of year I've transitioned. So now I'm shocked about it, because I'm but I haven't listened to that in a while, but I listened to it for a majority of the year. But I guess I was the top 4% of fans. I had a 5-day streak of listening to her. And spent almost 2,000 minutes listening.
Wow. Yeah.
To her.
Well, I think that's the other thing, is that they stopped taking data, I think, at the end of October. And then they spend most of November compiling it all. So I don't think November and December, they don't take any data of what you're listening to. So it's only up to a certain point. So yeah, if you've been listening to something, for all of November, it's not going to show up on your Wrapped. And it's not going to show up on next year's either, I'm pretty sure. It's just lost. So if you're trying to bump your
those
numbers,
last couple months are just gone.
Yeah. So if you're trying to bump your numbers on a specific artist or something, don't listen. Don't think November and December count, because I don't think they start pulling new data till January.
So I listened for 13,473 minutes this year.
Oh, okay. Wow.
So not too bad. So my top artist was Taylor Swift, and then it was Jorge from Epic, and then Benson Boone, Morgan Wallen, Zach Bryan.
Nice.
My top songs are all Taylor Swift songs.
There's your top songs of 2024. And I'm pretty sure those are in order. And it's a longer playlist that has all of your top songs.
It has
even
a
if
lot of stuff in it.
Yeah. So other than just your top 5.
Which in Epic, the newest saga that got released, the Vengeance Saga, the Dangerous song that Troy sings as Hermes, it has hit 10 million views.
Oh wow. Well, and that's the newer one that came out on Halloween.
That's the newer one that came out. Well, and even the Jorge even posted on I'm sure it was probably everywhere, but I was looking at it on YouTube, and let's see, it's 4.24 million listeners,
Oh, wow.
456, I think it's million streams. The like button is blocking. 26 million hours.
Wow.
And 183 countries.
Oh my gosh.
Was his
wow,
breakdown.
That's crazy. Yeah.
It was insane. Anyways.
That's a lot of minutes.
It's
Look
a
at how
lot
we're
of
spending
minutes.
our lives. Yeah.
I've spent a long time listening to that. Yeah.
Yeah. So in total, I listened for 40,505 minutes this year. In the top 7% of listeners worldwide. And that's mostly due to that I can listen to stuff at work. So I spend like minimum at least an hour or two listening to podcasts or music at work every day. And usually it's a lot more, probably closer to 3 or 4 hours that I'm listening to stuff at work every day. So, and I don't always listen to Spotify commuting, but I'd say maybe about like half the time. And this was kind of interesting. My biggest listening day was August 18th with 487 minutes. So I don't know. Let me do the math on how many hours that is real fast. And I was 100% at work. What was going on at work that day? I don't know. That was 8 hours. And I work 10-hour shifts. So I spent 8 of my 10 hours having something in my ears. So my top artists in order were Ghost, Sabrina Carpenter, Chappell Roan, and Ariana Grande, which I just want to say really fast. Ariana Grande's newest album, I think it came out at the beginning of the year, called Eternal Sunshine, did not get a Grammy nomination, and I think that is so wrong because that album is genius and incredible. So go listen to Eternal Sunshine. I'm going to talk about it one of these days because it's incredible. And I'm surprised none of the songs on there made it to my top 5 songs, but a lot of them were sprinkled into my top songs of 2024. So my top songs were, number 1 was Please, Please, Please by Sabrina Carpenter, which was kind of surprising, but I didn't think I'd listen to it that much, but I guess I did.
Yeah.
And then 2 was Good Luck Babe by Chappell Roan. 3 was Espresso by Sabrina Carpenter. 4 was Casual by Chappell Roan. And 5 was Red Wine Supernova by Chappell Roan. So it was a big Chappell Roan year for me. And I listened to her albums called The Rise and Fall of a Midwest Princess. And I have to like restrain myself from listening to it constantly because I love it so much. And I can't wait if and when we get more music from her. I would love that. So when I got the Pink Pilates Princess strut pop, that wasn't surprising to me, given that I listened to so much pop this year because between Ariana releasing a new album, Sabrina releasing a new one, me discovering Chappell Roan for the first time, Dua Lipa released a new album that was really good. It was just a really good year for pop, just overall. But I think this is the first year in a couple of years that I got more pop on my rap than like rock music. So I'm still glad that Ghost was my number 1 because Ghost will always be my number 1. But it was cool to see some pop princesses in there. Anyway, so there's my rap.
Yeah, no, it's great. I don't know why, but ever since that came out, I'm like, I want to organize my music. I want to like, because I feel like I've hit the surface of like some artists where it's like their popular songs that you hear everywhere. I've like, obviously listened to and like added to my playlists. But I'm like, I bet there's more songs in there that I could add, and I just haven't like gone down that rabbit hole yet. But it's like I almost don't want to yet because I want to organize my music because I'm a control freak that wants to have everything all perfect, neat, and precise. I want to make a spreadsheet. I want to like make all these categories for like where I want that kind of music to go, and then literally go through all my playlists and like put them. It's gonna take forever, but I really want to do it. One day we'll do it.
So when I got Spotify, it wasn't until I was probably like 18 maybe, and I started from the get-go of how I wanted my music organized and what playlists I wanted to have. And so my Spotify is like immaculate, and I'm like, I have such good taste in music. Whenever I listen to them, even though it's like, of course I'm gonna think that because it's my music. And actually, I forgot about this. This intro is getting kind of long, so I'll keep it snappy. But I keep finding like individual songs that I want to talk about on the podcast, not as like a topic, but just in like the intro, like, oh hey, I found this one song that I'm really liking. So I thought that it would be a good idea that I'm gonna make I'll hopefully have a link to it by the time this episode comes out. But either in this episode or a near future episode, I'll have a link to my current favorite songs at the moment. And it's going to change quite often because I really want it to only be like what's my current like favorites. But songs are going to come and go quickly. So if you're ever interested in what I'm listening to and what I'm kind of obsessed with, you can go check that out. I love this one. So it's called Dopamine, but it's the split brain version by Madeline. And so it's a song. She has an English version and a French version of it. And then the split brain version has both. And it's so cool to listen to with like noise canceling headphones on. Because you're getting English and French, but it's the same song. And it sounds like it'd be overwhelming, but it's not. It's really cool. Blankets by Koruch, Southern Nights by Glenn Campbell, Cinderella by Remy Wolf, What's Left of Me by Grace Vanderwall. That one's a really, really good one. Diet Pepsi by Addison Rae, etc., etc. There's a lot of really good. Money by The Warning, Minority by Green Day, Rush by Troye Sivan. I'm very picky about it. My main thing is like the current, So once I'm like not listening to that song a lot, then it's going to get taken off the playlist. And it's not that I don't like the song anymore, but it's just not like a current, I'm walking from point A to point B and I have time to put one song on. What's the song I'm going to pick, Should we get started? This has been a really long intro. Sorry, you guys.
So that's okay.
Well,
Alrighty, So my obsession, which is slowly fading out at this point, but this is the first opportunity I've had to present it since I started. And I also played it so fast that, didn't have much time. I was obsessed with the game for like all of November. I've spent almost 60 hours playing this game now.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm technically not done with it.
Yeah.
But at this point, I've played the main storyline and it's over. And now it's just like the achievements and stuff, which I still want to beat. But I'm having a hard time making myself do it. Because I don't know. It's like, I love that part of the game because it's like I feel accomplished at the end, but it's so hard to get yourself to do it.
Yeah.
I get so bored doing it and it's so monotonous and tedious and I'm just like, I can't do it. But either way, the game I am talking about is Hogwarts Legacy.
Ooh.
I know. Okay, so here's what happened, people. Because I got my gaming computer in the summer, so I've only had it for a couple of months. So I haven't played PC games. Like, PC is a like completely new world for me because I really don't play PC games very much. There's like one game I've played, and I played it on a laptop, and it sucked because you just don't play games on a laptop. It doesn't really work very well, especially when you don't have a mouse. And so like Hogwarts Legacy was a game that I like wanted to play. I was like, oh, that would be fun. I'd like to play that. Don't know if I'd like it. I'm assuming I would because we've been Harry Potter people growing up
all our lives.
The whole time.
Yeah. Because our mom was reading the books as they were coming out because we were a little too young to read the books. And so she was a big Harry Potter fan. And so, we watched the movies as they came out and got to see them in the theaters. And so it was like kind of a big part of our childhood.
Yeah. But I was also like, for me at least, I didn't want to spend $60 on the game. So I was like, I'll put it on the wish list if it goes on sale or if for some reason I'm like dying to play it. Sure. But I just like put it on my wish list just to let it be a thing. But it actually went on sale, but it was like almost half off. I can't remember how much I spent on it. And I was like, oh, I'll buy it. That's fine. Bought the game and didn't touch it for a couple days because I knew it was going to take forever to download on my computer. And I wasn't like desperately dying to play it yet. And I had stuff I had to do. And so I want to say a couple days later, maybe a week later, I don't know exactly how long it was, I finally decided like I want to try out this game. I had to wait a whole day because it literally took 10 hours to download.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And I don't think it's the computer. I think it's the internet partially. That's why it takes so long. I mean, obviously it's a big game and there's a lot of stuff in it, but I think my internet sucks. But that's fine.
Yeah.
It's okay. So I literally like just had my computer on all day letting it download, and then I think I played it the next day. And boy, was I hooked. Every evening, late nights, before like I needed to go to bed to go to work. Like, I have never stayed up so late so many times. Like, I literally feel like all of November was just that and nothing else. Like, I'd come in my room, I'd play Harry Potter till either, if I had to go to work, I'd try to stop at 9, and half the time it wasn't till like 9:30, 10 that I was going to bed because I was in the middle of doing something, and I'm like, I have to finish this, and then I'll go.
Yeah.
And then I'd forget, and then I'd keep doing things, and I'm like, well, then I just gotta finish this. Yeah, it was a whole thing.
Yeah.
But I'd stay up till like midnight, 1 a.m. until like my brain couldn't work anymore. I'd start feeling sick because I was so sleepy, or I just like couldn't focus anymore.
Yeah.
But just all of my free time was basically spent playing this game. Everything took a backseat to this.
Yeah.
And boy, I loved it so much. I'm not going to share any of like the really main storyline points or any sort of information on that because I don't want to spoil it for people, because you have to just do it and enjoy it. But I absolutely loved the storyline. I thought it was fun. I was always kind of like unsure of what was going to happen next and speculating and worried about stuff and stressed about things, but it was fine. But I went through that game so fast and spent so many hours on that game. It was ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah. That, I know like some people are crazy for games and play like 300-400 hours on stuff or even more.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I think just like 60 hours in and of itself is crazy because that's like over a work week. It's like a work week and a half of time. And so that's a lot of time to like put into a game. So yeah. And especially knowing you to stay up that late and not be like, be so focused on grinding through this game. I think that's a real testament to how much you loved it, because that's not usually you.
Yeah. Because I like to stay up late, like all the time. I'm a night owl. I like to stay up late. Like, I will go to bed early so I can get up for work. Yeah. I stayed up till 1 a.m. at one point, and I'm like, this is not me.
Yeah.
This game is so addicting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was just like obsessed with it, the storyline and all the things, and I was like, I had to do all the things. Because I was like, I don't know if I'm going to play this game again, and I'm never going to, play it without knowing the storyline and all of those things. And that's what, like, always makes a game so great. It made me so sad when I finished it. I cried at the end, and then I kind of had, like, a little sort of depressive moment.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't terrible, but it was just, like, the sadness of, like, knowing you finished a game and it's over and you're never going to, like, have that exciting satisfactoriness of, like, not knowing what's going to happen.
Yeah. It's like withdrawals.
It made me a little sad.
Yeah, I totally get that. Yeah, I have that with books specifically, is that happens to me a lot where I'm like, wait, but I want more. And it's like never going to quite be the same when you like go through it again. Like you still love it, but you're never going to get that first time through back. And so, yeah, I totally get that where it's like, I don't know what to do with myself now.
I know. I was like, what? I can't play games anymore. There's nothing else good enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I still have to find a new game to move on to because I haven't yet. Because I don't know what to play now.
Yeah.
But I will get there. But I was going to ask you, Katie, because you have Hogwarts Legacy, right?
I do. And I've been meaning to play it.
Okay.
Because I started
have you played it at all? Where are you at? A little like how far in, I guess, is more of what I'm asking. Are you very far in?
Not very far. I got through like the intro and, past like making my character and stuff. Obviously, I got to the point where you like go to class you're on your own. You've like, picked your house and gone through the common room and talked to some people.
Okay.
And then they kind of set you free to go to class, and that's when I stopped playing because it was like my first time playing it. The first time I opened the game, that's how far I got. And then I was like, okay, this is kind of overwhelming. I'll have to come back to this later. And then later hasn't arrived, and I haven't touched it since. And I'm so glad I also waited to buy it till it was on sale, because it is kind of a hefty price. And so I'm glad I did, because I would feel really dumb for paying so much money and not playing it. So I will play it one of these days. I do want to. I've heard lots and lots of good things. And also I bought it, so I want to make it worth my money. So I'll try to get on it one of these days. I'm kind of not in a gaming phase right now, though, to be perfectly honest. Fair. I've been very heavy into specifically movies and reading. I kind of flip back and forth.
Mhm.
I'm always watching some sort of TV show, but I've been more of a movie phase, and then I've been doing lots of
Mhm.
reading lately. I kind of switch between
Okay.
reading and gaming almost. It's kind of weird. So, I'll get to it.
Okay, fair enough. I wanted to just see where you were at because I was like, how much do you actually know before I
Yeah,
start
very
this?
little. It's like I know the premise at the beginning. I won't say what, but there's that huge event in the very, very beginning
Mhm.
that kind of sets up the story. So I know that, but that's about it.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Yeah, so I'm going to talk more about like the dynamics of the game, kind of the wizarding elements that are in that game that I really like that, ties into, like the Harry Potter movies and that whole wizarding world thing. I'm not going to be talking about like the main storyline or any specific quests or things because I don't want to spoil it for anybody.
Yeah.
So we'll kind of get into it.
Okay.
So I did some research, and so the game was released in February of 2023, so it's almost been out for 2 years.
Oh, wow.
And for some reason I thought it was a lot longer, because I felt like I was going to be really behind sharing this topic. I was like, oh, it's been out for like 3 years, and da-da-da, but I was like, oh, it didn't come out too long ago.
Yeah. It's kind of weird to me that 2023 was 2 years ago. I'm like, what? That was just last year.
I know.
So that's crazy.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. Okay. From what I found, and I didn't dive super, super deep because I wasn't too worried about it, J.K. Rowling wasn't directly involved in this game. It's a Warner Bros. Game. I find that it's kind of funny that it's under the Portkey Games label. It's like Portkey, and it's the whole... Anyways.
Yeah.
It's nerdy, but I love it.
Yeah. Wait, can I ask a question really fast?
Yeah, no, go right ahead.
Okay, because you've seen all the movies. Have you ever read the books,
Yes.
the Harry Potter books?
No.
Oh,
and
you
that's
should.
the thing, is I feel like I was just like too young enough to where I remember growing up with the movies, but like I feel like most of you guys had already read the books once, and I don't know, I feel like I'm less of a reader than you and our other family, but like I still like to read, but because I played this game, I'm like, I need to read those books.
You should.
So I have the first one.
Okay.
And I just haven't started it yet.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But I fully intend to.
Yeah. I love the books.
I think now I'm finally going to get to it at this point. So it's a role-play open world game, which honestly I love those games. They're so nice. I like open world. I like to explore. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
But then we kind of get to the time period, because that was one thing that I was curious about when I was playing the game that I wasn't exactly sure about. Because we have obviously the game itself, but then there's like the Fantastic Beasts that comes before Harry Potter, but then we also have Harry Potter, and it's like, how much do we know about that? So the game is set in the 1800s, and then Fantastic Beasts was like 1920, 1930s. So it was later from the game. So the game is set like way back before you know anything. And then Harry Potter was the 1991 to like 1998. So that's like the time frame zone of all of that.
Yeah.
So you're not going to see anything from like the movies and things and the books in the actual gameplay, which makes sense because it's not directly linked.
Yeah. It's like you're playing in the Harry Potter universe, but it doesn't have anything to do with Harry Potter specifically as a person. Yeah. Because it's way before that.
It's way before. But I wanted to talk about kind of like beginning game. Obviously, you go in and, you're going to have your intro stuff. But there's all that customization options kind of in the beginning that kind of sets you up in the game. So you get to make your character, which is kind of like the standard.
That's so fun. I love doing that.
It's so fun. But it takes so long doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's so detailed.
They're so detailed, and that's the one thing that I find sometimes difficult. Some games don't have like the high level detail that other games do, and I mean usually it's just because graphics and the type of game it is and things like that. But it's like there's literally so many customization options. Like you can make everything distinctly different. There's so many things you can change. Obviously, you can't change it after you've like started the game. You can't make any adjustments to your character. You can change outfits and things like that, but just the character in and of itself, the look and all of that.
Yeah.
Stays the same. But then one thing that I really liked about this, which I knew before I bought the game, is that so on the Wizarding World's website, you can like make an account and take like the quizzes to know like what house you're in and your Patronus and your wand and all of that stuff. You can link that to your Hogwarts Legacy account so you can like play as yourself. So it will automatically... Yeah. You didn't know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Oh,
Maybe I
wow.
did.
Okay.
Maybe I did when I like started the game if it gave some prompt to like connect or something. But
I think it does.
I started it so long ago that I would have forgotten. But that also makes me want to ask, what do you know? Have you taken those quizzes and everything?
Oh yes. I took those quizzes way before.
Do you want to go over your house and your Patronus really fast because it's fun?
Sure.
Because I don't know yours.
Yes, no.
Do you know mine?
I don't.
Oh, okay.
At least if you told me, I don't remember.
Okay.
I don't feel like we've talked about this.
No, I don't think we've sat and talked about our Harry Potter houses. But I love this stuff. It's so fun. I love Harry Potter.
I know. It's amazing. So my house was Gryffindor, which I kind of wasn't surprised.
Oh, yeah.
Which makes me happy because it's a lion.
Yes. You know what? That tracks, honestly, for you. I love that.
I know.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. And then my Patronus, it was kind of weird because I did a quiz a couple of years ago because I made a new account because I was like, we'll see if it's the same or not. And the first time I did it, I got a hedgehog. But then when I did it again, I got a Newfoundland.
Oh, those are so sweet.
I
thought about getting one of those dogs. You know, a few years ago. I was like, what if we did? They're like
they're very
tiny bears, essentially. Yeah.
Yeah. They're cute though.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then like my wand has like unicorn hair, and I think there's some sort of dragon thing. It has like the fancy wood. I don't know. There's all the statistics in there that I don't remember because I don't know. But yeah, so you can link your account. I think it does it like right at the beginning. So you've probably done it. But I linked the accounts, and so then everything's like pre-set up for you if you want, that you can like play it with like those specific qualities that are part of who you are type of thing with the quizzes.
Okay.
You know, in the beginning, obviously you get sorted into a house because that's just like standard Harry Potter Wizarding World. Like, it wouldn't be the same without that. So with that, you can... You know, it will automatically pick the house that you're assigned. You can choose to change it if you want to. So if you want to play as like a Slytherin or a Hufflepuff or something, you can change it. Like, that's fine. You can customize as you want. But then it's like, you know, you still do kind of the typical kind of like Harry Potter cycle where you have to go get your wand and you have to go get your supplies. And so with like the wand, you can choose the wand that, you know, would be yours. And then I don't feel like there was any Patronus thing in the game.
Yeah. I don't think to like set you up. Yeah.
Yeah. So there was nothing of like that in there, but at the same time with how the storyline goes and all the things, it wasn't really needed. But I think it would be cool if there's a game that had something like that in there because that would be fun.
Yeah, that would be cool.
But yeah, and then on top of that, just a general thing in the game is there's like so much clothing items that you can get. Like, it's a ginormously long list, and I didn't realize how many clothes. So many clothes. Too many clothes, to be honest.
Yeah.
So you can change clothing. I also found but I didn't realize till like almost 3/4 of the way through the game. Obviously there's the clothing that you can find that, you know, will have like certain stats and stuff to help you, but then you can also change the look of the clothing you're wearing, so you can still have the stats, but then you can make it look like something else, or you can make it disappear altogether.
Oh, okay.
Because like I didn't like any of the hats for a little bit, and I didn't want to wear a hat, so I still had the hat that had the stats I wanted, but then my like actual character look didn't have hats, and I didn't realize that for a while.
Oh yeah.
And when I found it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is fantastic. So
yeah,
I've been messing around with that, and that's been a lot of fun.
That is fun.
But there's a lot of customization in this game. Like, you can literally, like, play it completely differently so many times over, and it will, like, never be the same.
That's the fun thing about like open world games, that you can kind of, there's a few different routes you can kind of take, and especially with like side quests and things, you can kind of change how you decide to play the game again. And so it's kind of nice to have a little bit of replayability there. And I know I've heard specifically for like the Zelda games as well, that those are kind of similar, where you can kind of decide how you want to spend your time in the game if you want to like play it again. And so I think that's always really fun.
Yeah. And there's like all sorts of little secret Easter eggs and things all over in that game that I haven't found, that I've just found, you know, from other people playing it, because I have a hard time finding those.
Yeah.
But there's like all those little things and little details that are not going to be found in like playing the main parts of the game, that you just find on your own and doing your things and all of that. That's super fun. But talking about the gameplay, so there's obviously that main storyline that's like the main premise of the game, the main theme, the main topic of your time. But then as you go through, there's side quests that will pop up that you can do, that are just a wide variety of like quests, whether they're kind of like short term, like you just have to go find this thing and give it to this person, over being like long term, where you've got to go do all these things and talk to all these people. There's a lot of different types of quests that kind of makes it unique and not feel like you're doing the same type of quest over and over and over again.
Right. There's some variety.
Yeah, there's a lot of achievements and like puzzles and things to do in that game. You have your field guide that they give you, that's basically just like their way of giving you like your achievements and looking at all your stuff. And I haven't even finished all of them. I finished the game, but I haven't finished all the achievements, and I need to do that. But then there's all these puzzles. There's all these sorts of like interactive game things, especially a lot around the castle that I still haven't figured out yet, but I want to eventually figure out. You also, like everywhere you go, there's these field guide pages you collect too. Those are kind of fun. They give you some like extra like insight into some things in the magical world, and like items and things, which can be fun to kind of like look at and review. And it's also just, it's pretty to see all these pages you've collected. You're like, man, I'm on top of it.
Yeah.
These pretty pages.
Yeah.
So a big aspect of the game that obviously has to be talked about is the spells part, because it's magical. You can't be magical without having your spells.
Yeah.
Obviously, because it's based off of the Wizarding World, there's your typical ones that you found in the movies and in the books. You've got your Stupefy, your Alamora, your Revelio, your Lumos, and many, many more. I could keep going, but I won't.
Yeah.
The mechanics are great for those. It's really easy to like switch out spells and organize like your stuff when you're like fighting people or doing things. And I mean, again, I haven't played a lot of like these types of games, especially like PC-like games. So it's like I don't have much to base it off of as far as like good mechanics. But at least for me playing the game, I really liked the way that they had set that up and the way that it worked. It took a little while for me to get used to it, but that's more just I'm not used to a keyboard. Than anything else. But the interesting thing about this game that also kind of adds to the customization aspect is that there's also the like dark art spells that you can learn. It's kind of that thing where you can choose to learn them or not. But it can like add another layer of stuff to your game. So you won't miss out on the dark arts.
You can kind of make a choice there. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So the big section that I had for talking about this game is kind of like a big basis of like added things to the game. So you can do a lot of the things that you see in like the movies and that's talked about in the books. So like your potions, your herbology, and your magical beasts. They're like a very good kind of center point of the game because, again, it's open world, so you can kind of do what you want, but then there's all these different like kind of paths and aspects of the game that you can choose to add into your gameplay, whether you want to or not.
Yeah.
So, like, the potions, there's a lot of different ones. They do a lot of different things. You can, like, go and collect stuff for them, or you can just, like, buy them in shops, but you can choose to use them or not. They can be helpful for, like, battles and stuff. There's the Wiggenweld potion, which I think is probably the one that everyone's going to know about, because that helps you heal so you don't die.
Yeah.
And I have used it so many times. And so, like, that's a fun thing where it's like, you know, you can kind of challenge yourself to, like, not use potions or to use potions. I didn't use potions very much, but, like, you can brew your own potions and do all those cool things, and that's super fun. And then with the herbology, you can grow plants that will either be for potions, or you can also use them for combat as well. There's the chomping cabbages that will eat people for you.
Wow.
There's the it's called a Venus tentacula. It's basically like the fly trap.
Oh,
plant.
Okay. Yeah.
But they're like giant. So you have those ones that you can use, but then also very classically, you also have your mandrake that you can grow and
that just
use.
squeal.
That just screams.
Yeah.
But then I want to say probably the one that I loved the most that I want more of is the magical beasts. Oh my gosh. I love it. They need more. There's 12 creatures in this world that they have. There's 12 different ones you can collect. I want like 24, but it's fine. I understand. We had to keep it simple. But so we're going to name them all almost basically because I love this section so much. So you have your Thestrals, which are the skeleton looking Pegasuses. That I love so much. Oh, they're so cute.
Yeah.
I want one. I want everything. Let's be honest.
Yeah, you do.
I'd
you
have
want
it
a
all.
pet of,
Everything. So you have your Thestrals, you have your Hippogriffs, which is Buckbeak. They're so cute. I love them.
Yeah, I like those ones.
You have the Nifflers, which is in Fantastic Beasts. That's the little platypus-looking thing that steals the gold and silver and shiny things. They're so cute.
They are cute.
Oh my gosh. You have your unicorns. I love the unicorns. It's adorable. Oh, they're so cute. Oh, I want one. I want it all.
Yeah.
There's the Puffskeins, which I hadn't heard about before until I played this game. They're like basically a giant puffball.
Oh, okay, yes. Are they like little pink ones that sit on people's shoulders? Is that what they are?
No. Well, no.
Because there's
I don't think so.
in the Harry Potter movies, Ginny specifically has a little pink puffball that sits on her shoulder sometimes. I don't know if that's one of those, or if that's
might
something
be
different.
But at least in the game, they're like bigger. Like I think about like cat size, like a normal house cat. Do you remember? I don't know why this is coming to my head. Do you remember that movie, the Horton Hears a Who movie?
Yes.
Do you remember how there's that little pink
the
fluffy
little orange
character?
Orange. Isn't her name Katie? I'm pretty sure it is.
It might be, yeah.
Because she's like really weird. Yeah.
Sort of reminds me of that, except like the head and body are one. Like it's just one big round puffball.
Okay.
I don't know why that popped in my head as I was trying to explain that. But they have like really weird, like long, thin tongues. It's really kind of, I don't know. It's a little disturbing, but you know, it's a magical creature. It's how it works. Yeah. It's fine. There's a phoenix in the game that you can get.
Yeah.
With certain quests. There's the Kneazles, which they're basically like large dog-sized cats.
Oh.
But they kind of have like spikies.
Oh, interesting.
They're like and they look like the like your smushed face cat, like a Persian or something a little bit. Yeah. They're super cute. I'm like, can I have one of those, please? I want a big kitty. Yeah. There's your moon calves, which, oh my gosh, they're so cute. They're like, it's almost like, imagine an alpaca, but not fluffy. It's like almost like cow skin on an alpaca.
Oh, okay.
But then they have like big bulgy eyes. Yeah.
I'll believe you that it's cute, but it sounds a little scary in my head, like what I'm picturing.
They look a little disproportionate to what they are. Like their heads, they kind of look like they have kind of bobbly heads. Yeah. But they kind of grow on you. They're kind of cute. Yeah. But yeah, you have your mooncalf. So there's a jobberknoll, I think that I'm saying that right, and a flooper. They're both like two different kinds of birds. The jobberknoll is very much like kind of what kind of bird would I describe that as? Kind of like a macaw, but not exactly. Like they're obviously not completely the same, but they've got like the long tails and they're kind of a thin-ish birds. But then the floopers, it's like just giant puffy bird.
Oh,
like almost
okay.
owl-like, but not.
Yeah.
But they're fluffy and they come in bright colors.
Ooh.
And we love that.
Yeah.
There's the giant purple toad, which I'm not much of a reptile amphibian person, and they're okay, but they just kind of look like they have gross warts and stuff on their back, and I'm like,
yeah, you like the fuzzy, the fluffy
I like the fluffy
creatures.
things.
Yeah.
But actually, to be kind of surprising and go against what I just said, there's also it's called a graphorn. Oh my gosh, it's like my new favorite one.
Yeah.
It's like the size of a rhino. But then it's got like the head of almost a dragoniness, because it's got like horns and kind of spikiness. But then it's got like if you think about Davy Jones, it's got like weird tentacles.
Yeah. Oh, interesting.
But then it's like almost like kind of reptilian, like rhino type skin. Oh, they're so cute. They're ginormous and they're big and I love it.
Yeah.
They're super cute. And I think there's, let's see. Yeah. And then there's one more actually. There's not 12. There's 13, I think. Cuz there's the it's the what's it called? I can't remember what they're called, but it's the they look like dodo birds, but they like teleport when they're scared. There's also those ones.
Oh, okay.
Too. So there's a lot of creatures that you can collect. At some point in the game, you get like a knapsack that you have to capture them with, and it's always kind of this difficult thing because they'll run away from you.
Yeah. It's
but then you
like
can
Pokemon. Gotta catch them all.
Kind of, yeah. Basically, essentially. But you can breed them, you can take care of them. If you have to feed them and brush them, and then you can like get items from them. So like you can get a feather from the bird, you can get like hair from like the unicorn, and stuff like that. Which you can then use to like upgrade for like certain traits on your clothing, and like to upgrade your stats on clothing and stuff like that. But yeah, so you can kind of do a lot with them. The hippogriffs, and then if you get a certain expansion also with the thestrals, you can make them your mounts, so you can fly and ride around with them, and I love that. It makes me so happy.
Yeah.
So that's super fun. But yeah, I did not utilize a lot of like the potions and the herbology part of things. I really just did a lot of the magical beast stuff. If I had my way, the whole game would just be magical beast stuff. I kind of want a game like that, but
I just want a
get
magical beast game. Yeah.
Yep. I want my nice little house in a suitcase where I have all the animals.
Yeah.
And I can just be happy.
Yeah. I need to rewatch those movies. I haven't seen, because I've only seen the first one, the first Magical Beasts.
You haven't seen any of the other ones?
Is there 3 total? Yeah, I've only ever seen the first one. I think I might have seen the second one. I don't quite remember. But I need to go back and rewatch all of those.
But yeah, so moving on from all of that stuff, we're kind of leading in a different direction now. So obviously, as I talked about before, it's an open world game. So you're able to kind of go wherever you want. But it's like based around the Hogwarts castle, basically. So you have your Hogwarts castle that you can explore and get lost in because there's so many places to go. But it's like very well put together. Like you feel like you're in Hogwarts, and it's very pretty, and I love it. But then there's also like the areas around it. So there's Hogsmeade that you can go to as well. That's not too far off. And then there's also just like settlements and little villages all over the place. You can like go all the way down to like the coast. You can go see the ocean. It's super cool. I will also say that as I've been out exploring around, there's also a dragon that appears every now and then.
Ooh.
That's super fun.
Yeah.
It will literally, every now and then, I start hearing weird noises, and I'm like, what is that? What is coming towards me? And it's literally a dragon that swoops down to steal some sheep and some cows. And I'm like, cool. Okay, that's fine. As far as I know, you can't do anything with the dragon. You can just see the dragon. But it's cool because if you look at your map, you can see the dragon on the map and know where it's at.
Oh, interesting.
It doesn't always appear on the map, but you can see it on the map. It's cool.
Yeah.
Anyways, I find it fancy. But yeah, there's also like the Forbidden Forest that you can go to because that's around there. There's a lot of like little nook and cranny things. There's like abandoned like buildings and old towers and things you can go explore. You can go in the woods and fight whatever creatures are hanging around there.
Yeah.
There's endless possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
But as you go, obviously there's like gear you can collect. There's always like a bunch of like bags and like money and stuff that you can find along the way, so you can buy stuff and sell stuff. There's like treasure caves that are just like caves specifically that have some sort of chest in them that has something, whether it's items or money or whatever. There's a lot of like enemy sites, so there's like camps or there's like dens. So because you have all the spiders, which I don't like.
Yeah. Not a fan.
Yeah. Don't love those, but I understand why they're in the game. So there's like the spiders you can fight. There's the mongrels. I almost don't want to kill them half the time because they're just little bulbs.
Yeah.
And they howl and they're cute, but they want to eat me.
Yeah.
And it's really sad. But I like those. Most of the time I try and leave them alone.
Yeah.
But then there's also, and it's kind of a dynamic in the game, but there's also like animal poachers as well. And a whole bunch others, but I don't want to get too in depth with that. But there's a lot of bad people that you can go fight if you want to. But then another big aspect of that game, which I feel like is a big thing in most games, is like your fast travel station things. Because everybody doesn't want to spend the 20 minutes it takes to walk all the way to some village. Yeah. So they have flu stations. So it's like the flu powder.
Yes.
To take you to and fro. I mean, you usually have to have been there and like light up the flu station before you can fast travel there, obviously. But I thought that was like a really well put together idea of like that was such a creative way to do that. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And I love that. And obviously there's a whole lot of other things that you can do as part of your exploration, but I don't want to completely ruin it for everybody, so you just have to play it and find out.
You have to find out for yourself.
You have to find out for yourself because I don't want to ruin it. There is some add-ons that you can buy. There's a Dark Arts pack that's like $20. All it basically does is it lets you use the Thestrals as mounts. You can't do that in just the base game you buy. But if you buy that pack, you can do that with the Thestrals, which I think would be cool. There's also like a cosmetic set, so you get like more like face and scars and things that you can design with. But then there's also, I think, clothing too that you can get as well. And then, so there are battle arenas in this game. I don't like them. I played it once because I thought it might be an achievement, and it was not fun. I get overwhelmed by all the people surrounding me, and I'm like, this is a little too much, but it's fine. But I did it. But there's a Dark Arts battle arena. I don't know what exactly that changes, but that's a thing. And then there's obviously a rumor going around that I heard a couple weeks ago about a possible new game happening. But there's some Harry Potter series coming out on HBO in 2026. And it kind of seemed like maybe they were going to do a game centered around that, based on that, something to do with that. So it probably won't come out until around that time because it's part of that. But there was talk about that happening.
And that sounds about right, like timing wise, to make a game on that level. It usually takes, quite a few years. And I knew that HBO series was happening, but I didn't realize it was coming out so soon. I know 2026 isn't nowhere near close to soon, but usually these things feel like they take a long time. And I don't know how long it's been, in the works, but I didn't know it was coming out.
It's
so
true.
that's going to be, I'm so interested to see that because it'll be a series instead of just movies of the Harry Potter story. And I think it's going to be so interesting to see other actors in those roles because I mean, we all know, the main trio that plays Harry Potter. We grew up with those people. And like I saw the movies first, so even reading the books, that's who I was picturing in my head. And so it's going to be so strange to have different actors, but I'm sure it'll be great. I'm sure they'll do a great job. And so it'll be kind of cool to see like a new generation grow up with Harry Potter. But then also like in a different way from the way we did. So anyway, that's kind of a side tangent. There's nothing to do with the game, but anyway, sorry.
No, but it's good though. Well, and it's also going to be interesting because it's just like because it's not a movie and it's a series, you theoretically can put more details in. So it's like how much closer is it actually going to be to the book and what are they going to add in that's not in the movies and da.
Because there's a lot in the books.
But overall this game was like so addicting. I loved it so much, and every like new little detail and new quest I went on that like got me one step closer, I like kept getting excited. I told Mom about it so much. I'm like, Mom, this thing happened. But yeah, I really enjoyed. I think the beasts was my favorite part. Of like as far as aspects of the game, which isn't really surprising because it's me. And that's what I want. But it's like just so well thought out, and there's all those like little hints and things from the movies that you recognize that's in the game, and it's just like I love it.
Oh, that sounds so fun. I will have to jump back on it, and I will have to play it all the way through because I know that I'm gonna like it. Like there's no way I know that I'm gonna like it, and so I should hop back on it and keep playing. Good job. That was a great topic.
Thanks.
I'm glad you picked that one. Okay, so this is so crazy. Okay, I feel like people might be annoyed because we've said this so many times. But you know how in almost every single episode we're like, wow, our topics go together. That's crazy. Because we don't tell each other our topics until we sit down to record. Yes, we did it again.
No.
And this might be one of our best yet.
Oh, gosh.
So other than the holiday episodes, this is like uncanny. Other than the holiday episodes, we both decided to pick holiday related topics. We don't know. Like, how in the world, I think a perfect example, other than what's going to happen right now in a second, but our very first episode, I talked about Sabrina Carpenter, you talked about Post Malone, and they were 1 and 2 on the Billboard numbers at the moment when we recorded it. Like, how in the world did we both pick music and we picked the first and second spots on the Billboard 100 with we had no idea what we were doing. It was our first episode. So that being said, I mentioned this to you once the last time we saw each other in person. So taking those 2 little clues, I want to see if you can guess what I'm about to talk about.
I feel like we talk so much in person though.
I know.
I'm a little unsure. I need like a hint.
Okay, because think about your topic. What's something that's it's very popular right now. It's blowing up everywhere. That's kind of related to your topic. Not Harry Potter, but just the magic vibes. Okay, it's okay.
I don't remember. I feel like
that's fine.
Like it's there. Like you tell me, and I'm gonna be like, "Oh, yes, I knew it."
Yeah, you will. 100%.
But I can't think of it.
Well, today I'm gonna talk about the brand new movie Wicked, which is about
that makes sense. That makes sense.
Which is Wizard of Oz. So it's magic and sorcery, and I cannot believe that this is the topics we picked. That's crazy.
Wow, it's fantastic. We're just too good at it.
I know, but it's like, how do we know?
I don't know.
I had a whole nother topic ready that I'll probably do next week, but I had a whole nother one prepared, and then Patrick and I went and saw this movie, and I was obsessed, and I've been listening to the soundtrack constantly, And then we went and saw it again yesterday. That's what we were at the movies for, is we went and saw it in 3D yesterday. So now I've seen it in the theaters twice. And literally as we were walking out of the theater, I was like, I want to go see it again. Because I love it so much. And so we're going to talk about why. I'm not going to talk about the story too much because I don't want to give any spoilers because it's only been out for a couple of weeks. By the time this comes out, it'll probably be a little bit old news, but everyone should go watch it. Like, no excuses. It's PG rated. It's incredible. It is long. It's like 2 hours, 45 minutes, but that time goes by so fast. It's like blink of an eye and it's over, which is crazy. So the pacing and the timing of the story is like perfect. There's no really like slow parts, to be perfectly honest. So, to give a little bit of like background. So obviously we have the 1900 novel, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz by L. Frank Baum. That's kind of where all of this started. And then we have the 1939 film, The Wizard of Oz. And then Gregory Maguire wrote a series of books in the 90s. I think it's a set of 4 books, I want to say, that's Wicked, and then there's 3 others that are all prequels to The Wizard of Oz. So then we have the Broadway show, Wicked. So the Broadway show was adapted from the book, Wicked. So it's kind of like you can kind of go backwards too, where it's like, okay, we have the Wicked movie that's based off of the Wicked Broadway show, that's based off the book, that's based off the Wizard of Oz movie, that's based off the Wizard of Oz book. So you can kind of, play like leapfrog with all the adaptations of all of this story. But the Broadway show, I believe, like debuted in like around 2003. It was like the early 2000s. So the movie is directed by John M. Chu, and it was written by Winnie Holzman and Dana Fox. And the musical songs are by Stephen Schwartz. So, and the name might not be familiar, but he also did the music for Pocahontas, The Hunchback of Notre Dame, and Prince of Egypt, and Enchanted. So he's like he's very, very talented. And we're going to talk a lot about the music, I think, is the thing I'm going to focus on most, because that really just like gets me. I just can't. I cry. I cried in the theater both times I saw it. That's why I was telling you it's okay to cry at Mufasa, because both times I went and saw it, I probably cried more the second time around because I'd listened to the soundtrack so much in between that I've gotten really, really attached to the characters. And so the second time there were multiple points that I got a little teary-eyed. And it's cool because Winnie Holzman and Stephen Schwartz wrote the Broadway musical, and then they came back to help write the movie. So I think Winnie Holzman is more of the script, and then Stephen Schwartz obviously does the music. So it was cool that it felt kind of cohesive in that way, where you had the same people that worked on the musical come back to work on the movie. I've seen some of the clips online. My Instagram algorithm is all Wicked stuff. My YouTube algorithm is all Wicked stuff. And so you can kind of fall down the rabbit hole of tons and tons and tons of Easter eggs. So they make tons of nods throughout the movie to like the original Wizard of Oz. The really, really exciting part was that Kristen Chenoweth and Idina Menzel, they played, so it's Glinda and Elphaba are the main characters. We'll kind of get into who's who in the plot a little bit in a second, but so they played Glinda and Elphaba in the original Broadway cast, and so they were the ones to bring these characters to life the first time, and they had a little song in the movie, and it was just perfect. And so it was so nice to have them there, and it just felt very much like they really wanted to do it right, and they really wanted to make the people who've been fans of the musical or the books for a long time, they really wanted to like be like, this is for you. Like, this is for you guys. We really want to do this right and do this justice. And I feel like all the Easter eggs and all the cameos were a big part of that. And so I just loved that. And I knew that they were in the movie at some point, but I didn't know where. And so it was almost like a surprise of like, when are they going to show up? Like, what context is it going to be in? Like, what's the story going to be?
Yeah.
And it's fun to see like the behind the scenes of, you know, Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo play Glinda and Elphaba. We'll get into them and how incredible they are in a second. I think there's like a video where they're all in an interview together, all 4 of them. And it's kind of like a passing of the baton. And it's just so like magical and just like touching. And you can tell they all love each other so much, and they're just like, I just love what you're doing and I respect what you do so much. It's just all this like shared love. It's just touching. Just a quick little blurb of kind of the plot just in the very kind of beginning, because I really, really don't want to give any spoilers. So set in the land of Oz before the events of the Wizard of Oz, it follows Elphaba, misunderstood because of her green skin, and her friendship with classmate Galinda, a student with an unflinching desire for popularity. So those are our two main characters, which, if you're curious where the name Elphaba came from, because that's kind of a very unique name, so this would have been Gregory Maguire, who wrote the book. So L. Frank Baum, who wrote the original Wizard of Oz book. So LFB, Elphaba, LFB. And that's kind of where the name came from. So that's a nod to the original person who created Oz to begin with. So they show up to this school. It's called Shiz University. And stuff happens from there, right? So you can kind of see there's some tension between their personalities, and you can kind of see what happens from there. So the casting, that was the other great thing about it, was that the casting and the acting was absolutely impeccable. Every single person did so good. Some of the other people you have are Jonathan Bailey plays Prince Fiero. He was in Bridgerton. I don't think you watched that, but he plays Antony in Bridgerton. Okay. That's where most people know him from. He did great. And then we have Jeff Goldblum, who played the wizard. Okay. And there's a whole bunch of other people who are all, talented and great and whatnot. But specifically, Ariana Grande plays Glinda, who's, Glinda the Good. She's the good witch, from like the Wizard of Oz, wears the big pink dress, all of that. And then Elphaba plays, or Cynthia Erivo plays Elphaba, who in the Wizard of Oz is the Wicked Witch of the West, right? And so since this is before the Wizard of Oz, you're kind of getting origin stories of the two of them. And Ariana Grande as Glinda was so perfect. She was incredible. And I saw a clip that she was saying, because I think they filmed this in like 2021, 2022. It took them like over a year to film it because it'll be two parts. So this is only part one. There'll be a second part, but they filmed everything at once. So they were filming this for a really long time. But she was saying back in like 2019, there were starting to be kind of whispers of a Wicked movie maybe, and they like, very, very, very early on. And she knew she wanted to audition because she's a longtime Wicked fan and she loves like musical theater. And she was in the middle of a big tour and everything, but she was like, if I'm going to do this, I am pulling the plug on the tour. I am going home. I am getting in voice lessons and acting lessons. Like, I am throwing everything to the side to do this, if this is what's going to happen right now. And so she was like determined to give the best shot she could to be in this movie. And she was so perfect. Oh, she was so perfect. I could probably spend like 30 minutes just talking about her. In other interviews, she talked about how she really wanted to like disappear into the character. So something people have brought up concerns about is like, well, I don't really like Ariana Grande. I don't like her music. Am I going to like the movie? And the answer is yes. If you like go with an open mind, like don't go in there wanting to hate it, because it's not Ariana Grande. Like, she is Glinda, and she is the perfect personality. And her voice, she did a lot of voice training to sound more like operatic. So she doesn't sound anywhere near what she sounds in like her regular pop music. She sounds completely different. Like, it's crazy like opera level musical theater vocals. And if you want to get a really good hint of that, the very first song is called No One Mourns the Wicked. And holy cow, I was sitting there in the theater watching this for the first time and I was like, I had no idea she could sing like that. And she's already such a talented singer, but it was just a completely different side to her voice and her vocals doing this. And oh my gosh, it's just like, it like gives me chills. It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, but it's also like, I feel like when somebody puts that much like dedication and that much time and work, like, I mean, you think about like some of the other movies where it's like based on a true person, how people are always like studying them. They seem like a completely different person. And I mean, obviously they're playing a character, so that's what they're supposed to do. But it's like, it's not what you would expect from that person knowing how they are usually. But then
Yeah.
it's like, it's also just like amazing what dedication they'll take to
Mm-hmm.
like do a role and want to do it well and all of that.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can tell she put in the work. Both her and Cynthia Erivo did. Like you could tell how important it was to them because they were just so perfect. Oh my gosh, they were both so perfect. I could not see it any other way. So everyone that was involved in casting and auditioning and all of that, they completely made the right choice with everybody. There was not a single person I'm like, oh, I don't know. I don't know if I really see them in that role. Everyone was perfect. But also in that beginning scene, she's in the big pink poofy dress with the, the wand and everything. And I'll put pictures on our Instagram and Facebook of some of my favorite, like, looks from the movie. Oh, it's so gorgeous. It's so beautiful. And I'm like, I want that dress. And she was just so perfect. And I could go on and on and on about that. Anyway, and then Cynthia Erivo plays Elphaba, and she did so good. Oh, she was perfect. And her first big song is called The Wizard and I. And this is kind of, you get a look into her like hopes and dreams and kind of her motivations. And her voice is incredible. I didn't know as much about her going in, but holy cow, she is incredible. Her voice is perfect. And she was like so perfect as Elphaba. And that's kind of the part that makes me a little teary-eyed because she's so relatable. And I keep seeing these videos of, people that are relating to her character of like, she's misunderstood and she's made fun of and she has all of these assumptions that are kind of forced on her. And like the way that she handles it and the choices that she makes just makes you like fall in love with her. And especially at the end, which I won't give anything away, but you were just like, oh my gosh, like I cannot believe. Oh, I can't say anything else without spoiling it. It makes me a little like, I'm a little weepy just talking about it because I think like for me personally, it's something that I can really relate to where feeling misunderstood, going about your life anyway, and still deciding to try to be a good person. And then also it comes up a lot in the movie of like forging your own path of being like, okay, this is kind of the expectation, but for me in my heart, I need to make another choice. Oh, it's just so beautiful. Yeah. So the next song I want to talk about is called What Is This Feeling? And so obviously from the beginning little blurb, there's going to be tension between Glinda and Elphaba and their personalities, and they're kind of forced together when that's maybe not what they would have chose otherwise. And so this is all about, it talks a lot about loathing, and it's I just don't like you. And the huge like musical numbers are incredible, and the production was just so cool, and they like built all of the sets for everything, which is so cool. They still have to do quite a bit of CGI for things, but these like huge big dance numbers, I just think about like the logistics of coordinating that, and it makes me feel like so stressed.
But it's also like, because obviously it's a musical that they're kind of basing things on. So obviously it kind of doesn't seem right for it not to have those musical elements because that's the whole point. It's always great when they keep it somewhat close to like if they were doing a musical production. Like obviously it's still worked up a lot better in their CGI and all the things that you can do when you're not doing like a live show, which makes sense because it's a movie. But at the same time, it's like they still have the sets and all the things. So it's like you feel like you're just going and watching a live musical even though it's not technically.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And there's a lot of moments where it's like specifically at the end with the song like Defying Gravity, you're like, okay, this scene was like built to be in a movie, because especially when you have people flying and like flying monkeys and stuff. I'm trying not to give away too much. Like you just can't do the same stuff in like a Broadway show on a stage show versus a movie. And so that's one of those where you can really make a really, really epic scene because you have a lot more things to play around with in a movie format. And so I think that's one of the pluses of doing like a musical movie, is because you're not as limited to the sort of effects you can use. So that's a really fun like duet between Elphaba and Glinda, and I really, really like that song. And some of the choreography is like going viral online, and people have really taken a liking to that.
Yeah.
The next song is called Dancing Through Life, and this one's a really long one. This one has Jonathan Bailey, who plays Fiyero. It's kind of his song, but it's really long, and there's quite a bit of, you get some more information on some of the side characters, and it's kind of just a fun middle break of the movie. And I was watching a like behind the scenes video because part of it takes place in like the library, and they have these like, I might actually cut this out because this might be too hard to explain in a podcast, but it's,
you can do it.
so it's like they called it a tornado wheel or something, but it kind of looks like a hamster wheel, but I guess the director didn't like people calling it a hamster wheel, so they changed it to a tornado wheel because Wizard of Oz, whatnot. But it's like, so it's these circles that move like you would think a hamster wheel, but it's bookshelves. So it's like this round bookshelf that turns, and there's a couple different layers. There's like 3 different rounds or something that all can turn in different directions. But then there's metal ladders that go across each one, but the ladders move separately to the bookshelves. So then you have all these dancers and like acrobats that are sliding along these like circle bookshelves hanging off of the ladders. Like there's a certain point where Jonathan Bailey is harnessed into a ladder and goes all the way around, all the way upside down. And so it's just kind of fun to see, because it's not the whole number isn't that specific scene, but just seeing the amount of work and coordination that just went into that specific part of this really, really big musical number was just really cool to see. And all of the, moving parts, you could say, of filming this sort of, it's just really, really, really cool. And this is something else to watch out for is the melodies of other songs will appear in other songs. So there's a point where Glinda is doing something a little shady to Elphaba, and because this is in the middle of this Dancing Through Life sequence. It's like a 9-minute sequence, so not the whole thing is just singing Dancing Through Life. There's some talking and some other things in between, but she's doing something kind of shady, and in the background you get the melody from What Is This Feeling, which is about them not liking each other. So you kind of get this nod to a previous song that kind of ties to what's going on screen at the same time. So, and that comes up a couple of times in the movie. So kind of keep an ear out for melodies from specific songs that come up at specific points. So the next song is Popular, and this might be my favorite part of the movie because that was my first introduction to Wicked in like 6th grade or something. My voice class, they taught us Popular, and I loved that song, and I had no idea what the context was. I had no idea what the musical was. I had no idea, but I just loved that song so much. And Ariana Grande did so good. Oh, she sounds so incredible, and she's wearing this incredible like flowy pink ruffly like gown, and that's
Can
like
I have the dress, please?
You would love her costumes. That's the other thing that's great about the movie is the costumes. Everyone's costumes are fantastic, but Glinda's always in pink, right? And so all of her pink dresses, and also the dress she wears in like the second half of Dancing Through Life, it's like this orange and pink ruffly, kind of looks like a flower or like a sunset. It's really, really pretty. Anyway, but she just does so good. Oh, you just gotta listen to it. Honestly, you gotta listen to it. You gotta go watch the movie, but it's just incredible. I cannot believe she just did so good. She was just so good in this movie. Oh my gosh, I can't get over it. People are probably gonna be so annoyed because all I'm saying is it's so good, and I love Ariana Grande, and it's so good. But it is, and I think it's almost funny because I had never been like a huge Ariana Grande fan before this. I just never really listened to her stuff other than the popular things. But when her album came out at the beginning of the year, I was like, you know what? I think I'm an Ariana Grande fan now. I think I really like this. Cut to now, however many months later, and now she's in Wicked, and it's one of my top new favorite movies. And she just did so good. I just can't. So I loved Popular. I loved the sequence. I loved the choreography. I loved everything about it. That is one of the most perfect, probably 5 minutes of film ever. I just loved it. Okay. I'm Not That Girl is an Elphaba song, and that one probably would have made me cry when I was like back in high school or like when I was still single. and her vocals are so incredible, and it's kind of a slower, sadder song, and it's just really, really beautiful. So I loved that one too. And then we get to the end of the movie, which is Defying Gravity. And this is the big, pivotal, huge, this is giant. And this is like probably the most popular song in the entire musical. So this is like a really, really big moment, not only musically, but also story-wise. And Cynthia Erivo just did such a good job. Oh my gosh, I can't. Her voice is so incredible. Oh my gosh. Like, honestly, if you wanted to just go listen to some of the soundtrack, just go listen to What Is This Feeling, Popular, and Defying Gravity. And if you don't like it, then I don't know what to tell you. But those are like, that would give you a good taste. And she did a lot of her own stunts. Seeing behind the scenes of, you know, she's in those like crazy harnesses and is like, you know, doing some of these like flips and tricks. But also they did a lot of live singing as well. So it wasn't all just recorded, pre-recorded, and then lip syncing. They also did live on-set singing, which is so impressive. And there's this clip of her like literally like flying across this set, flipping and singing Defying Gravity at the same time. And I just can't imagine doing that. And I can't imagine being that talented to where you could sound that good while you're like flying through the air in a harness that's probably impacting your breathing. Like, just incredible, an incredible talent. And the fact that she had talked about how to look green, they could have done it with like special effects after the fact, but she like wanted to be painted green every single day, and she had these like fake ears put on because she has a bunch of crazy piercings, which is so cool and looks really awesome. And so she literally had like fake ears to go on over her real ears because she didn't want to have to take all of her piercings out. And so just like the dedication to disappearing into the role and really like turning into Elphaba and not just being Cynthia Erivo playing Elphaba. I just really appreciate the dedication, I guess.
And, you know, even though CGI has come, you know, a long way, and obviously if she didn't want to be painted green every time, it probably would have still looked fine. But at the same time, one, just the dedication of like doing it that way, but then two, I'm sure it in some ways did look better and more realistic having it be
real practical. Yes. Yeah, exactly. So between this is like a pivotal moment in the story and the emotional impact of the song and how well she can sing and the acting, and Glinda's in the song a little bit, it's just a very, very intense moment. And that's like where the movie ends, is at the end of the song. It's just incredible. And I like, that's the other part where I cry. That's where I cried the first time I saw it, because I was like, oh my gosh. And then again when I saw it for the second time, because it's just, I just can't get over it. It's just so incredible and just so well done. And just the whole movie is just so well done. And like, you know me, I am so picky about movies, and I could nitpick to death. And I'm like, oh, well, I didn't really like the editing here, or I don't have any complaints about this movie. I mean, I could if I really wanted to. There's little bits and pieces that I could be really picky about if I wanted to be, but I'm like, I don't want to nitpick so much, because the things that I would have issue with are so small that it's just not worth nitpicking about, because it was just so perfect to me. And people can feel differently, but I love this movie so much. And I was telling Patrick in the car on the way home, I was like, I think that just made it. I mean, it was already there, but I'm like, I think that's in like my top 5 favorite movies of all time. I loved it so much, and I cannot wait for part 2. So that comes out next November. So November of 2025.
A whole year.
I know, a whole year.
Fair.
And so I've been trying really hard to avoid spoilers for part 2, like the plague, because I don't want it to get spoiled for me. So
it's gonna be real hard.
I know, it's been hard. It's been hard, especially because it's all over my social media.
Yeah.
And I want to go see it a third time. I've never wanted to go see a movie for the third time in the theater. Like, I just can't wait. It literally felt like I knew I wanted to see it again after the first time, but I was like, I need to see it again. I'm like, I can't survive I've been listening to the soundtrack all week, but I literally cannot survive, it felt like, without seeing it in the theater again. And I still want to go see it again. So if you want to go see it, we could go see it together. I'll just quickly wrap it up. But it's everything. The acting was perfect. The characters are incredible. You get so attached to them. And Glinda and Elphaba. And they're just a perfect, just female friendship. And just, you can tell, because now they're like besties in real life too. And you can tell they have so much love and respect for each other. And you can totally see that translate too on screen. And I could not.
They found the good chemistry.
They did. Incredible chemistry. And it's so perfect. And I just feel so attached to the characters. But then you have this incredible soundtrack of these incredible songs that are so well done. But then you have the costumes and you have the sets and you have the production was incredible. And it's just everything. Just everything came together. And I just love it so much. And it just speaks to me. And I love a musical. And I feel like this is a perfect example of why I love musicals so much, because I love music so much and I get so emotionally, stirred up when music is involved. And so when you take a story that I would have loved anyway, and then you add this like powerhouse of a soundtrack of these songs that just take it to another level. And so everyone should go watch Wicked and be on the lookout for Easter eggs and listen to the soundtrack. There you have it. One of my new favorite movies, Wicked, and everyone should go watch it.
Beautiful. Yeah, we'll have to go see that. Because it's been the rage lately.
And I totally get it. And people can disagree, but to me, it's completely worth the hype in my eyes.
Oh, no, I get it.
Yeah, I knew that you would get it because I was like, this is my Epic the Musical. Like, I'm so obsessed. And it's like a recent obsession too, because it's only been out for like 3 weeks when we're recording. And I'm already completely hooked. So, I just love it so
I
much.
bet I bet it's dominating box offices.
Yes, because award nominations are already pouring in. And people are already talking about Oscar nominations. I think it should be up for the movie. Just the movie as a whole should be up for Oscars, in my opinion. So people are very excited. I'm a new fan to the entire Wicked. I know I was familiar with it, but I'm a new fan. And so I can't imagine people who've been a fan of the books since the 90s or the musical since the early 2000s. And they've been waiting for this for forever. And so I think people are just really excited that it's finally here and it's finally happening and that the reception has been overwhelmingly positive. So it's something very special. And I'm just so excited to be a part of it.
That is exciting. As we said before, we would love it if you guys would visit our Instagram and our Facebook, like, comment, follow. We also have our YouTube that you can also go look at. That will also have the recording of this episode on there as well. So you can go check that out too. Please let us know that you're a part of this.
Let us know that you're out there and you're listening. Yeah. Happy New Year. Welcome to 2025. Hopefully it's not a complete disaster, but I don't know. I guess we'll see.
If not, we'll be here for the ride.
Yeah.
We'll be in it together.
If you need some light entertainment and some escapism from, all the heavy stuff that's happening in the world, we'll be here and we'll be talking about silly stuff and we'll be giggling and, so
laughing,
feel free to always
jokes.
Come by and take a little break for your brain. We'll be here. So
we appreciate all of those who are listening and are a part of this fun thing that we do. And we'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.